Welcome to the 2014 DI Anniversary 8-year celebration via Google Hangouts. Today we have former content producers on the line, and they're going to talk a little bit about their experience with the network, what they're doing now, and how they bought into an idea that pretty much was unproven. Um, DIRadioCast initially was a single podcast. It started out in 2006, and in our second year, 2007, we emerged into a full-fledged network hosting the Ladies Room, Chemist.net, DJ King Assassin, and as time progressed, we picked up other people along the way. So we've tried several different outlets, and now you have what we have today, DIRadioCast New Media Network, where we focus on music, technology, and the implementation of technology in small business. I'd like to introduce my wonderful panel today. We have DJ Goes. Welcome, DJ Goes. How are you? It's a pleasure to see you after so long.
I know I miss you. Oh my God. What's up? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Ghost, tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since you've left the network, and how you initially got involved with DIRadioCast.
Well, I'll start with how I got involved, because I actually had to think about that. It seems like we just known each other since birth. And I think through social media, some kind of way you and I hooked up. And I mentioned my show, The Ladies Room, that I had on a college station, I believe. And you mentioned with the DIRadioCast, and as soon as you told me what it was, with the media idea that you had, I would just had to be part of that. So, you guys opened me with open arms, and the Ladies Room came out on a new media now, which instead of was just radio, it was actually reaching far more than just the state that I was in, and that was pretty cool.
Now, you've been doing a lot of wonderful things now. You're doing a lot of wonderful things in new media. Tell us a little bit about that and what you're doing now.
Well, I'm actually continuing with what I did with DI Radio and proudly letting people know that DI Radio started this whole internet radio thing because nobody was doing it when Africa was doing it. Nobody. And now I'm on, I'll say 3 streaming sites. One is audio streaming, which is, oh, there goes my brain, which is Smash Mouth FM. And see, some things don't change after this thing still don't click the way it's supposed to. And there's the video site, which is Next Cut Entertainment, which is run by DJ Cut Creator's right hand, which is God, it's after work and my brain just ain't kicking in. But anyways, run by a bunch of people. But and it's very cool. You have one where you watch us DJ live from wherever we are, and then Smash Mouth is just audio, but it's still live. And of course, all this other new media that's out, any new media thing I can find, I throw the Ladies Room on it. So, between SoundCloud, between Facebook, Vaughn Radio, I think we tried Vaughn. We're on Stream Up right now. And it's great because, I get mail from all over the world, and usually the Middle East and Africa seems to be my biggest audience, go figure. It's great. It's wonderful. I owe it to you, of course, because not only did I learn about the different things of new media, but I also learned a little more about what I should know about business, being a woman in this business, and then on top of that, the savviness that Africa has, you can't help but sop all that up. So, it's great. I actually miss being on the show with y'all. It was great. I big up DI every chance I get.
Cool, cool. Now, you talked a little bit about what you're doing now in new media, but let's talk about that original, buying into the concept of new media. Because when we first started in 2006, nobody even knew what new media was, let alone
Right.
understood how to market it. And I think that we had the
Exactly.
opportunity to kind of grow with the trend. So tell us a little bit about some of the challenges and hurdles you may have had just trying to sell people on the concept of an online product that wasn't necessarily radio.
I think the biggest thing is the fact that technology moves faster than the people do. So by the time people catch on to the new media that comes out, new media has already moved on to the fourth new edition or the fourth or fifth new application, and you're constantly having to keep up with technology. And I know in my age group, that is difficult in itself. Younger age groups, they're on it. They're pretty much telling us what's out there. But the area that we were moving at the time with DIRadioCast was not working. Well, no, it was working. Forgive me, that's the wrong word. It was working, but it was a lot of work because you had to teach people what it was, then you had to teach people how to use it, and by the time they learn how to use it, we're on to the next thing. So that's the biggest challenge is the technology moves so much faster than people can keep up with. Not so much the younger generation, like 18 plus, maybe even 13 plus, up to 21, but after like maybe 25 or 30, it's just every day there's some new app out.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing, and then that makes it difficult to market it because once you've marketed yourself in this way, now there's a new way. Now you have to get everybody used to the new way. So, I think the culture is getting such that people know to keep up on their applications and, whatever's out on the web for the most part.
Now, I think we have DL. DL, are you situated yet? Can you hear us yet? Are you there? See, one of the prime examples of keeping up with your technology and knowing how to use it.
Oh.
All right,
Punches. Look, I got my Guitar Hero. It works.
All right. I'm gonna type to him and let him know to kind of pull it to let us know a little bit about himself. And if you are interested in finding out more information about DIRadioCast New Media Network, New Media, and how we actually began, you can call in. The number is in the actual broadcast. You can call in and ask questions, or if you can't get your microphone to work, you can call in.
Okay. Let's try it like this. Let me separate these screens. I do it like
Okay.
this.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Tell about what?
Oh, he's reading the screen. Great. I can't type as fast as I speak.
My name is Dylan, aka DL. That name was given by my girl Africa Allah DIRadioCast. Basically, grew up loving hip hop, grew up loving music. Grew up in Pensacola, Florida. Moved here to Atlanta 2001. Oh, how did I start out with the network? Started out with the network way back, way back in the mid 2000s, 2006. Actually with Africa at one of the beginning stages of DIRadioCast. Hold up. Just basically something different, something I never done. It was real new to me. I've never done nothing like that. Very interesting.
Okay.
Especially with it being about music, and I can't think that's the way me and Africa we connected through music. So when that option came along, or that came along, that's what really kept me interested, you know, something different, not just more so than just listening to music, being a part of it, you know what I'm saying, as far as another side, actually in the business side of it.
Now, darling, tell us a little bit
Yeah,
about
I
some
mean,
of the
to this day, you
challenges
know,
that you had. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges
challenges,
you had.
not in the beginning. I guess it was a small team. I know Af had some. Af, I know you had some people on your side of the business, but number one, I really didn't know the business at all. You know, at all. So I mean, I guess when you got a co-host for DI Radio for a radio station, and you bringing in somebody totally new into the business, I know that was a challenge. Teaching me the ropes and actually maintaining with everybody having day jobs as well and going to work, and I didn't understand it, so I watch Africa come home working hours and hours and hours, then get on the computer and doing some more being tired, just doing some work that got to be done, and really don't have nobody to reach out to as far as I could see, as far as you know, getting some extra stuff done. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things she put in her own personal hands. That was a real big challenge, having a real good team of experience around.
Well, you know, from that perspective, I really don't think that it was a lot about the team because we had a creative team. We had a really good creative team and a group of people that were really passionate about what they were doing. I think one of the biggest challenges for me was actually finding an
Got this
outlet.
screen split over here. Questions and stuff.
Was actually finding an outlet that could house our content, and that was the challenge. When we initially started, we had an outlet that housed our content, and then one day we woke up and it wasn't there anymore. And you know, we went from a million point something people listening to back to zero, having to start all over again and rebuild the brand and stuff. And that took us about 2.5 years. We got on another platform, and that platform disappeared. They decided to change over to video, and so our last resolve was we're going to house it ourselves. But by the time we got to the point where we were going to house it ourselves, we were already 5 years in. So I think just with the technology and the evolution of the technology, that was one of our biggest challenges. Just being able to find the technology to keep up with our ideas. So in most instances, technology goes before people. But in this particular instance, like our ideas and concepts were moving before the technology was available. And we had these ideas like in 2006, we were already doing video as a part of our broadcast. And we were doing it on the then Google Video platform. When we were doing it on the Google Video platform, in 2007, Google introduced YouTube. So now we went from being able to host 30 minutes of video to having to cut that 30 minutes down into 10-minute intervals. So now we had to reduce our video segment to 20 minutes, and then in doing that, we still had to reduce the frame rate because now you can upload megabytes of video to YouTube. Before, it was only 250 megabytes that you can upload per video. So if you look at the older video that we had, it was kind of choppy because we had to reduce the bit width and the megabytes so that we could actually put it up there. So that was one of the challenges. And then in 2008, we decided to host video shows. Now we had to find a platform to actually host those shows on, and a platform that held a certain amount of bandwidth. So again, our ideas and concepts went before the technology. Now I love Google. I stuck with Google. I told you guys from the very beginning that I was going to create an entire platform based on the Google platform. And as
Yes,
you
you
can
did.
see, and as you can
Yeah,
see,
I remember.
I put my money on Google, and look at what's going on with Google now. They are freaking ginormous. But those are some of the challenges from a technical standpoint, which a lot of it sparked the reason why we focus primarily on music and technology, because we had to learn the technology ourselves. So we want to make it easier for independent artists and small businesses to kind of delve into this new media platform and produce content for themselves, but also understand, some of the limitations and some of the things that you want to steer away from. Like, don't house your content on a third-party network, because tomorrow they may not exist. Don't create your entire platform on a Facebook or a Google Plus, because tomorrow they may not exist. And granted,
that just happened with Justin TV. They had a gazillion shows on there, and we've had people flooding us over at NextCut trying now, after talking about, I'm on Justin, I don't need to be on your show, and now they're trying to be on us because they just flipped a switch and shut that off. So they had nowhere to go, a whole bunch of people. Yes, ma'am, I know exactly.
And let's keep in mind, when we first started, everybody was like, oh, if you don't have a MySpace, and then what happened? One day MySpace is not popping no more.
Yeah, it was gone real fast. So, MySpace came and went like quicker than any social network site out of all of them.
That's not true, because
what was MySpace had a good 3-year run.
Ning came about right after MySpace. Everybody got into the Ning thing, where they wanted to manage and maintain their own social network. The problem with that is managing a social network takes a lot of upkeep, right? So while that was a great idea, we personally, as the ordinary Joe, we don't have that technical skill to kind of maintain a social network. If you look at social media right now, every other day there is a minute change, but there is a change. Like yesterday, Google Plus introduced the import from Google Plus to YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. At the beginning of the week or the end of last week, you would notice that there are small, minute changes on YouTube. The YouTube share section looks a little different, and the iTunes and the Google Play references show up when you play a video that has songs in it. So during certain parts of your broadcast, if you have a song, it identifies what that song is, and you can then purchase, but it wasn't there 3 weeks ago. But these are small, minute things, and if you're not constantly using these platforms, you don't see it. So imagine us trying to maintain a social network like Ning. It got cumbersome, and then to top it off, you weren't actually optimizing your exposure, because you were in so many different social networks on that platform.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that died. That was a year. That was 2000.
It was a year.
It was a year. 2008, and it quickly dwindled off before the end of the year. In the beginning of the year, everybody had a name, boom, 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 and then it dwindled off. People were like, "This is too much."
Yeah.
And then everybody got into the Twitter phase, and everybody was tweeting, and and that's when people started paying attention really to Facebook. Like, okay, I'm going to rock with this. And Google had a couple failed social platforms as well. Like, they had a couple failed platforms, but Google Plus by far has been the best. And that recently came about in the past 24 to 36 months. So we talk about social media and social evolution, and how social media has played a big part in this. Like, again, I couldn't even remember how I met DJ Ghost, and she just mentioned we probably did meet on MySpace. A lot of the people that initially started on DIRadioCast met through the MySpace platform.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
So, when we talk about that, like we are actually we are actual pioneers in the whole social media marketing, social new media program development, and
You know what? It's crazy because I tell people I'm an OG in this game that they might not even know. Like, I guess, hey, man, I've been doing this since 2006, and it's crazy because there are people like that even might be older that don't even understand the current level of social networking. Okay, the younger kids got it. You know what I'm saying? But when I go to some people that's our age and say, hey, do this, do this, do this, they are so amazed. Like, hey, you wear a security shirt. How do you know how to do it? I say, man, this just an image right here. I do more than you would know. It's so many
mhm.
fields of it. Like it's amazing, especially with since 2014. It wasn't even an iPhone out when this started. It wasn't even an Android phone out.
Yeah, we still
That's just
have flip
how long, you know
phones.
what I'm saying?
we still
It
we
was,
still have flip phones, and sidekicks were hot. Sidekicks and Blackberries were the hotness.
yeah, Blackberries. Yeah, that was the hottest phone out at the time, which was Blackberry. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
all the everything, especially it wasn't even a Google Play Store wasn't even out at that. I think that came out like
No.
2010.
Yeah, Google Play didn't come out for a minute.
Yeah, so it's very and I think that's the difference in when I reference anything I see or anything I do, I always reference it back to actually DIRadioCast. You know what I'm saying? As far as what the technology is and a lot of things that gets done now, like I learned everything from right here. Go to that site. Go to that site and they'll see everything. Go to the site because
now,
honestly I still try to catch up on everything you're doing.
now, when you talk about emerging technologies or emerging new media industry, what are some of the things that you look at now in comparison? Like, what did you learn? What did you learn in the early years that have been able to prepare you for what you're doing now? I think we didn't really get into what you're doing now, so let's back up and talk
Okay.
about what you're doing currently and how did your experience at the on the network help you develop what you're doing now?
Okay, basically a lot of things that I do now has to do with things within the public forums. I do a lot of events, forums, hosting events mostly. I do a lot of that, and a lot of the promotions come from the social side of everything. It's quicker, it's easier. You get to network with people that you don't even know, that you might not meet in public. You know what I'm saying? So, like just like the Facebook's got so many group pages. If you're doing something with poetry, you go to a poetry group page. So it's created just within Facebook has different groups or anything like that. So it's just if you're in the house and you're busy, you stick in front of your computer. It's a way to network because everybody don't have time to be on the phone. Everybody don't have time to be in the streets. Everybody don't have time. A meeting could go for 2 hours. I think the good thing with social media, you can really wrap up a meeting in 10 minutes.
Hmm.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, I can find you, say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm setting this up, Africa, come holler at me. No, I'm not. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, okay, and go to the next person.
Now, how has or how has the technology influenced what it is that you do? Like we talked about social media and the quick access to other individuals, but
Yeah.
from a marketing perspective, how have you been able to strategically place your content in front of a larger audience?
Basically visually. Usually video. I try to video everything that I do, no matter how large or how small or whatever level. So once you put everything on, I think visual is everything you do. You know what I'm saying? So the technology has allowed through camera phones for you can use stream anything in a moment. You know what I'm saying? Something like that where you can have your own platform to broadcast anything and everything you do within a moment. So you can promote something, say, hey, I'm gonna be here at this show. I'll be on Ustream. Here's the link, and you could gain your own audience just within the click of a link. You know what I'm saying? No matter if it's somebody who knows what's going on, or somebody might come across it, whether it's on a Ustream link or whatever, or YouTube, and they can catch it just in the moment. So that's what the technology has done for me, is gave me a reach out, you know what I'm saying, and everything. I put everything on my website, yelleentertainment.com. Everything to every site that you could reach me at. Even the people that I'm affiliated with in some form or fashion have a link to their sites as well, and mostly vice versa, just to gain traffic.
Okay, so you're doing like a co-branding type of situation with yourself, almost like an affiliate. Uh, that's awesome. Now,
Yes.
now,
Yes.
Ghost, tell us a little bit about the technology and how technology has played a role in the development and marketing of your content, and how do you use it, and which platforms do you favor?
To be honest, I mean, just starting from the platform question, that's been difficult because I know right now with the website that we're on, I think it's only the second one talking about Next Cut Entertainment. Our shows, I think because it needs so much bandwidth, being that it's a video and audio show, we're having a trouble with stability. And I've noticed that any site I've gone on that does that, that's been a problem. So maybe nobody's quite, even here, I keep getting dropped off here, right? So that's the one, I think, platform that's difficult to master unless you have millions of dollars to spend like a TV station, that makes it a little bit difficult in terms of what was I saying? In terms of finding the right platform. I don't think anybody's mastered a platform yet. And if I'm using the right word the right way.
Okay. Now,
Um,
from a platform perspective, it's not necessarily the platform, but it's the bandwidth that you're broadcasting across. So if you're on a T3 line, then the probability of you dropping off is less. So it's really about the power of your internet service and how much that can sustain. Now, if you're broadcasting in HD and you have
right.
really small amount of I don't know what kind of package you may have, you would want to reduce your camera. You would want to reduce your camera size so that it can actually stay broadcasting. Like before we started, it's raining on this side of town, so like I
Yeah,
had to
here
drop
too. Mm-hmm.
I had to drop my image quality down so that I can stay online. So
Right, right, right,
those
right.
are things that you may want to look at from a technical standpoint. And this goes back to the whole concept of having to learn, because a lot of this stuff is trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of it, these are the reasons why we started going out to the CES and to tech conferences, because we needed to figure out how to stay online and make sure we were marketing our content. So that's a solution for you guys. You need to first find
Right.
out what kind of internet service you guys have and what the power is, and then also check your camera streaming and find out what you're broadcasting on. Because if you're broadcasting on 720 or 1080, you may want to bring it down to standard, which is 480, so that you can be able to stay online. Because
Mm-hmm.
it has nothing to do with video or audio. It has everything to do with internet, your internet service.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And then that goes to the people who are watching it. Um, I'm assuming you could have the greatest streaming thing going on, but they can't watch it unless, uninterrupted or without problems, unless they have that knowledge as well,
Yeah,
if
and
that
that's
makes
and
sense.
exactly. So you're definitely going to have to, in your
So,
process, teach.
right. And the masses don't know what you just said. Right, right, right.
I
And I
get
think that
that.
makes you that I think we have a pretty good we have a very good followership, if that's a word, on the websites that we're on. And I think that that's part of the problem with some people. If you got to do too much work, they're not trying to do all that. They ain't trying to press all those buttons. They're not trying to figure out, you know, sizes, or I need to reduce this or whatever. And it's, I think that's what I say is there, if there's some kind of way, which I'm sure you're on it because I know you go to all the tech shows and the conferences and such. There has to be a way to teach them without having to take a whole show to show them, hey, this is how you do it.
Well,
So,
the answer would then be in making sure
yeah.
that your website is responsive, so that when you log on, it identifies what the bandwidth is and reduces the frame rate so that it can actually broadcast and stream. But that means
Uh-huh.
whose stomach is growling?
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm like, what is he crying at?
I was like, I had to hold my stomach. I thought it was me. I was like, oh.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
No. That's these little hams that just want to be on camera.
Okay. Yeah, to have a responsive site allows your computer to actually identify which bandwidth the person is streaming on, and reduces the size to fit that particular screen. So again, it might be the platform that you guys are on may not be responsive at this point. So that goes back to identifying which third party site is capable of holding your content. And as time progresses, things change. So it's imperative that you stay up to date on the different platforms and the different options that are available. But that is another option to get a responsive site, so that when the viewer is watching it, it'll respond to the viewer's streaming and site itself. Exactly.
Right.
So now that we had that educational part,
which was well needed. I'm sure somebody was thinking, oh, I know I was.
We constantly talking about technology. How has technology changed? How has technology changed since you were on the network to now?
Well, just you talking about me? To me?
Either or.
I'm sorry. DJing alone, trying to keep up with that is incredible right now. I mean, if you're not a DJ who's constantly working or just naturally rich, you are constantly having to upgrade and constantly having to keep up with everything. And I mean, it seems like every week I'm seeing there's a new something for something in terms of upgrading your equipment, in terms of everybody who streams, in terms of organizing your music, in terms of the equipment that you're using. It goes back to what I said before, the technologies move so fast. You have to, you almost daily have to just take a part of your day in Google to see what's coming up to be ahead of the curve, so you're ready when it comes. So, and I think that's one of the things DI did do is, and I say DI, but it's a huge part. You have to want to, and I guess everything I do, I equate it to DJing in some way. So it's almost like with the music, people have kind of dumbed themselves down to listening to just anything because that's what they're hit with all the time. It's just easier. So I think with technology, it's like, I don't care about all this. Just show me what button I need to press. That's all I need. And that's I think that's been an issue with technology all around.
So do you think that technology has
the changes? Say again.
Do you think that technology has changed the value of the music?
Absolutely. Because everybody's a DJ, everybody's an MC, everybody's a producer. And it's gotten to the point where as long as you have something catchy and like and to tie it around to, things on TV on the internet, if you have a little flashy little site, it's like it's a garbage site, but because it just gives the people that little bit of popcorn microwave stuff they want, they're cool with it instead of wanting quality. It's like people don't want to pay
Oh
for the
man.
quality. They probably don't want to pay for DI to come out and send you a quality show live from your area. They don't want to pay that money because Boo Boo the Fool over here will do it for $25. And it's crap. They're not using the right technology. They don't understand it. It's the same thing with the music. People will take the DJ who will spend for $100 in a $20 bar tab over the DJ who starts at $350 an hour because nobody wants quality anymore. They just want it fast and they want it cheaply. So,
Interesting.
the technology thing is I think is the same thing. People are trying to find something that doesn't cost a lot, and people are developing it. But if you think about it, from when you pay for technology that's cheap, it's also fly by night.
Yeah.
So, this little cheap thing lasts for what, a week, 2 weeks, a month, and then you got to go buy another one anyway, and by then the new one's out, and they just keep producing cheap things to get you to buy like these little USBs or whatever you can get for $7 when they used to cost $100. So things like that.
Okay, well,
If that
I,
answers your
I, I
question.
like I like I
I
like
kind of go
that.
off on a tangent sometimes.
I like that you talked a little bit about that. We're getting ready for the I Create Music Seminar in Nassau, Bahamas, with the iStandard producers, and that's one of the things that we're talking about with IK Media as well as Appleton. All of these new technologies that kind of use your smart device. I live by my IK
Right.
Media, HD microphone because I can actually produce my entire report on my phone and send it to the radio station in the Bahamas for them to play. All they have to do is upload the MP3, and it's at good quality. Also, we have an artist that's out currently that he played on, I think it was the Grammys or the VMAs. He played his iPhone and did an entire record on his iPhone using software. So, you
Wow.
know, while we say it's hurting the music, it also gives people that don't have access opportunity to do something. Because could you imagine, like 8 years ago, I woke up and I was like, when was I my happiest? And I remember being on the radio, but I didn't want to deal with the bureaucracy of being on the radio.
Right.
I put together an ear check and submitted it to B103. I went for the interview, and by the time I went for the interview, I had already had 2,000 downloads. So I was like, well, I don't really want to do it. If I can get 2,000 downloads and still go to my 9 to 5 and make the money that I want and live on my own terms, why not? And that's how DI was kind of birthed. So it gave me the opportunity to kind of be free and express myself without having to live by stipulations that the mainstream media puts on us.
Right.
The other part of it is, as much as we complain about mainstream media only exists because we patronize it.
Exactly.
I hear A&Rs, DJs, radio personalities complain about the music, but this is the same music that you're putting out, you're promoting, you're marketing, and you're playing in the club. If you don't want somebody saying nigga, 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 then don't play nigga, 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 nigga.
Don't play it.
Thank you. And that's what I mean. It's like we
that's
beat
real,
people
though.
over the
That's
head
that's
with
that's
everything.
that's
Yep.
that's totally real. Like,
Right.
So what are the
yeah, I
things
don't
that
think
you
it's
will not
so much a
compromise
problem
on?
with the.
Go ahead, darling. Complete your thought.
Who?
Yeah.
What I won't compromise on, basically, however I'm branding Yale Entertainment at this moment is, I have a certain image, I have a certain direction that I want to go. So you can't tell me to do a event, regardless of money wise, and it might be, yeah, let's do this at a strip club. So if you're branding a certain image, and I see you have branded DIRadioCast quite well over the years, so it's some things that you probably wouldn't do because it would hurt your image of a company. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the social media and the technology thing, you want to stick with your core audience and the people who follow you. You don't want to have anybody say, "Oh, I thought she was this type of person or this type of chick, and she does this," and that kind of hurts the entire business. So it's just certain things image wise. I mean, and it's not so much the music. I think the issue with the music is we're not getting enough balance of it. That's my issue. Like, I don't have a problem with the 2 Chainz as long as I get 2 Chainz and top Lil Quality. I don't have a problem with Lil Wayne if I can get some Lil Wayne and then get some MC Light. Give me a
I
little bit of
concur.
everything. I like it all.
I concur. What about you? What about you,
Well,
Ghost? What
not
are
all
some
of
of the things that you will not compromise on?
it, but most of it.
You mean overall or technology-wise?
Just overall, as a producer, as a content producer, what are some of the things that you will not compromise? You will not compromise.
I think pretty much like DL said, the branding or the image that I have, I'm not going to do something just to make some money per se or to get notoriety or fame, because that's what's in. DJ Ghost is definitely a brand in itself because it's been me forever. So, the ladies' room is a brand, and it's been a brand for a long time. It's been a brand since before I even came to Georgia. So, while the way that I've made it is it's flexible to a degree. The music still has to be good music. I'm not just going to throw something on because somebody wants to pay me $100 or whatever to play their song. That's never going to happen. If it's garbage, it's not getting played. And if it gets played, it's so that you can see what the people's reaction to it is. But because sometimes, I remember our show, we used to do that, what do you think? You have to, you have to stick by your gut and your love for what you do. And I'll never compromise on that love just to be accepted or to get people to listen to the show. I've never moved from what the ladies' room is, which is a place for independent and really good artists to get heard and seen. So, that includes some of the signed artists. They may try to venture a different way, and I'll play it if it's good, but I'll never change or compromise on that because that is who I am, and I wouldn't compromise on who I am as a person, so I'm not going to compromise on my product as well.
Okay. Now, you said one thing that kind of rings true. I've always been a big supporter of independent artists.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody deserves an opportunity. However, the same people that complain about the music are the same people that are making the crappy music as well.
Exactly.
I feel that, you give everybody an opportunity to be heard. There's so much music in the world. I still live by this. I don't believe in playing a record more than once because, number one, if it's broadcasted and it's archived, you can go back and listen to it. Who am I to say that song was so hot it needs to be played 4 more times during this month? If you like that song, you can go back and listen to it, and we've made it so that you can go and you can search inside the search to find out where that artist is and how many different shows they're on, and find that content. But from from a programming perspective, let's talk about the different things that we did on the network, because at one point you were the program director and you were responsible for making sure that independent artists had different platforms. You actually came up with the Mixtape Monday and the Spotlight Saturday. So tell us a little bit about your vision behind those two concepts.
Oh, did you ask me a question? Because it cut off at the end.
tell us a little bit about tell us a little bit about your vision behind those two concepts. Spotlight Saturday.
Oh, the
Mixtape
Mixtape Monday and the what was the Saturday show? What was the Saturday show? It was
Spotlight Saturday, where we
Saturday. What was Saturday? I forget.
We showcased
Spotlight Saturday. That was for the independent artists. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically, remember, we had people who were trying to get on DIRadioCast, including the DJs started wanting to come on. So the Mixtape Monday came from just being in a DJ circle, having this new media and a way to get them heard. And I think our tag was, do you want to be heard outside of Georgia instead of just in your little circle? And a lot of them bit that because they wanted to be heard and get jobs outside of Georgia. So the idea was for them to come onto DI and use this as a platform or a springboard for their brand, their music, and their, getting themselves out. And I think it worked pretty well. I think we had pretty good amount of DJs, a number of DJs who came through and were submitting on a regular basis. The Spotlight Saturday is much along the same thing. And again, going back to the mixtape and the Spotlight, we didn't just throw just anything on. We listened to it to make sure it was actually decent, because we have a brand to protect, which was DIRadioCast is in itself. I think we pretty much prided ourselves on, we don't play any garbage, and to each his own. Garbage is whatever. Like you said, we only played things one time, and you could always go back and get it later. But those people a springboard outside of Georgia or wherever they were, and to use DIRadioCast as that springboard, that we would be able to actually help them market themselves better later down the road. So that was the idea, is to help the artists grow. On all levels, be it the DJ, the producer, or the artist.
Now, as I was going through some stuff, I realized that we played Action Bronson, we played Joey Badass. We actually were one of the first people to play Drake during the MySpace days. So I was looking at stuff and I was like, oh man, we have so much history. Yep. Like, we were breaking artists and really spinning new music before people even knew.
We were breaking people. Yes. And I went back and listened to some of the old ladies' room shows. I was like, dag, we played that a year before it even came out.
Exactly.
And that was happening a lot. That was happening a lot. You would play something on your show and I'd be like, ooh, what's that? And vice versa. And I'd be like, you'd hear it on the radio literally a year later. 6 months to a year later. And that still happens now. It's like,
exactly.
Amazing.
Like I run into artists at these different festivals, whether they be in Atlanta or New York or California, and I'm like, oh, I played your record. And they're like, how did you get it? Like, oh, I don't know, somebody sent it. Like, oh, like I was looking for an artist and I typed in an artist's name and I pulled up, I was like, oh shit. And I looked at the year, I'm like, oh, how? Like I played this in 2010.
Right.
Like you're just coming out with this record?
Right.
Like even in some songs that come out now that I'm like, I know this song.
Not drifting too far off. Right. And not drifting too far from what you're saying. With those same artists, it's very funny that you played them, they realize you played them, then they get a little bigger, and they don't remember that you played them.
Yeah.
And it's like you got to kind of take that, like, just so we know we broke you. We know we're the ones that did it, but that's okay. You don't have to act like you don't know me. It's okay. I got a bunch of emails where you were all hyped up because you were on DIRadioCast, but it's okay. So that's
Well,
I think you have to remember what the people that helped you get there. That's why no matter what DI ever needs, I'm here. You just let me know. Because I'm where I am because I was on this station. Or this radio cast. So it's just the vision was there. You could see it. It was crisp. It was clear, and Africa meant what she said. And I'm happy to see that it's come to fruition for you. I'm going to help you get it even higher up than it is.
cool. Now
So
we're
everybody's
gonna
heard of it. So
we're gonna close out, but I just want to say, there are a couple people that didn't make it, and one of the beautiful things about DI RadioCast and one of the visions was once we acquired all of that space, all of that digital space, we had this website, or we had this hosting platform with unlimited space and bandwidth, and I was like, well, I can't just put DI RadioCast on there once a week. I mean, that's a waste of space, time, and money. So
right.
we went and we started acquiring people to participate in this journey with us. We had Chemist Net from the Bahamas, that was one of our original people. DJ King Assassin out of California, he was on there. We had Fusebox Radio from out of DC, Maryland area. We had Aaron Hazard, the Big Show, your brother. Oh my God, I love that show.
He wanted to make it so bad, but he's got family things going on, so
Okay.
he's got more kids now, and one on the way. So
wow, again,
he's been a busy boy,
making a lot of things.
Yep.
So we had the Big Show, which was a political show, and I remember when we first put it on, he was kind of leery about it because we were quote unquote a hip hop station. And I'm like, no, we're like we talk about these things. I want to have diversity in our content because hip hoppers are not just music, like which is the reason why I constantly press upon people that as a person that listens to music, or a person that is involved in music, there are so many different elements to the music that we have to stay aware of things that are going on. So when we brought on the Big Show, like that was that they had an awesome run. I think they did about 4 or 5 years with us.
Right. And the numbers were good.
Yeah, and their numbers were surprisingly like good, and they were like just running their mouth, right? For about 2 hours. They actually were the only other show other than DI that were doing a 2-hour show, because they had earned that from their numbers. We had the Big Show. They were out of California. We had Tada. She did a rebroadcast. She did a first air on Island FM in Nassau, Bahamas, and rebroadcasted her show live via DI RadioCast. We had Nuff Said, which was Christian urban music, and that actually did really good. That was really good. Again, diversity in the content and the programming really set us apart. We had Sin Radio out of New York City. Now listen to all of these places. There were only probably about 3 people that were based in Atlanta. Everybody came from someplace else, and that was the beauty of DI RadioCast. I was able to reach out to all of the places that I lived at some point or connected with, and be able to create a platform where everybody could come together collectively under one idea of making sure that we created programming that the mature urban consumer would want to consume and share. And that's really what it was all about. What it's all about is providing a mature view of the urban culture for the mature audience, because we act like hip hop is only for the 18 and under. Like, okay, a lot of us started it. I don't know how old you guys. I'm very young. But a lot of you guys are here when hip hop started.
I plead the
fifth. You know, I tell people I don't do math when I'm having English conversations. Okay, so.
You know what?
like
The crazy thing is, I use that now as like a crap talking method. Like, yo, little young boy, I've been in this since the birth of it. Then I realized they're really showing my age without telling it. Like, yo, never mind. Because then they're not even gonna want to hear how I say, like, oh man, you don't know what you're talking about. Then, well, never mind.
But that was the whole premise of it, to make sure
right.
that people in you guys' age demographic had a place where you could consume and enjoy urban music. You like that, right? Urban music, and still be able to be introduced to the content that is currently there. So create a blend between what's important to us and what we grew up on, as well as what's evolving, what the culture is evolving to. So I want to thank you guys for being a part of this entire movement, and I definitely have to say a shout out to Drez the Beatnik, because when Drez the Beatnik came on DIRadioCast, he was one of the first full-length video shows, and we had so much trouble trying to find a platform to accommodate his stream. I think we went through 3 different streams before the concept was abandoned. We repicked it up in 2011 when Google introduced the Google platform, and now we're working on original content and producing original content. Our DI, we have the DI report, the DI mobile report, the DI coverage, and DI documentaries, which are all video content, original content based around a theme. Right now, we are currently working on the DI On Live music series. It's a 7-episode series featuring journalists, event coordinators, festival coordinators. Actually, we're looking at South by Southwest, A3C, the One Music Festival, Governor's Ball. We did allhiphop.com, and we are working with iStandards. On September 8th, you can log into DIRadioCast.com to watch our conversation with Jay Hatch as he talks about iStandards, the Producers Conference, and how they have taken that concept of educating and providing a platform for producers and have taken that international and are now looking at the international market and pushing that education out there. Again, combining music and technology. So technology, you can't run from technology. It's very important that we get familiar, catch up, or get left behind. Any final and last closing words, everyone?
Hey, Ghost.
No, I mean, I've been saying it through the whole show. I really, hey. Hi.
I haven't had a chance to say hello to Ghost since last we met. I saw her doing a thing on the turntables, and I walked up behind her. She was so into it, like, and who's just about to walk up? Oh, hey, D, yeah. I'm like, hey, baby, chill out. Go ahead. What you do? I'm like, go ahead. I'll just interrupt.
Okay. It was cool though. It was cool. It's always good to see everybody. And I guess I should have called you all ahead of time so then I wouldn't have to talk so much now. But no, I mean I give a warm praise and love and everything to all you guys because it was cool working for DI. Yeah. Definitely. And I'm open, hey, we work together again someday. It ain't over. Ain't over till it's over.
I hear that. Well, I want to give thanks to everything.
You lose half.
No? Half you do?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I actually honestly want to give thanks to you for
Oh,
everything
okay.
that I do currently, everything that DL and that I've learned from Africa, Allah, and I really appreciate you and everything that DI Radio Cast and Distinctive Pressure put in my hands to learn just watching you. Even if you wasn't, don't think you was teaching me shit, you was teaching me some stuff. I was watching. Now I didn't understand then, like, yo, this chick be up like 14 hours straight. What the hell is she doing? I really understand now, but I understand there's a, ends to a means, and everything. So I
Mhm.
really do appreciate everything that you've placed in my head. You know what I'm saying? And more so just with the business, paying attention and reading. Real talk. Learn
All
something.
right. Okay. So there we go, DIRadioCast.com, and we are live with the DI anniversary 8-year celebration. Join us next Wednesday as we conclude our 8-year celebration with the current members of the network as we talk about the forecast for the upcoming year and also some of the new things that we're introducing. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been DI Anniversary 8-year celebration Google Hangout Show.
8 years.